everyone, today I'll be teaching you how to play with the Automa for Scythe, and I'm on Tabletop Simulator right now on the Scythe the Wind Gambit mod. And so to start out with, the Automa is a single player variant of Scythe, and you'll be basically playing against this deck of cards, and you'll be trying to, of course, complete the game as per usual. Now, this won't be how to play the game, but it'll definitely be how to use the Automa and how to understand its language, and I'll try to be explaining it to the best of my abilities. So we'll go ahead and start. No matter what, the player always starts first, and so I was given Albion Militant, which isn't a half bad board, but I'll definitely have to think about what I'm doing. So for the first move, I'm just going to be moving to worker to get to a village to get some more workers, and moving to that grain so that when I produce I can start enlisting as well on the second turn, or third turn, like. Okay, so we just completed our turn, and so now it's the Automa's turn. So for the deck of Automa cards, we basically just shuffle this up. At the moment we're playing on hard difficulty, so there's easy, normal, hard, and extreme. And we're playing with easy, so it starts with 5 coins, and the Automa is a little bit different because it doesn't have a board as per usual. Like I said, it just has these cards that will determine its actions, and as you can see over here, it has 10 popularity, and the 10 popularity doesn't really mean anything. It could be at 7, it could be at 12, but it just needs to be in tier 2, and it won't ever change from there. It doesn't move. So, to basically start with the Automa's turn, we'll just shuffle the cards, and then after we shuffle them, we'll make sure we don't do it again. And so we just draw one, flip it over. And so here we have, to zoom it in, here we have a move to an encounter. So, move to encounter or move a character. The little diagonal line, or the slash, is just representing an or. So, at the moment we look if there's an encounter within the neighborhood, and that's not across rivers, because as you can see, this little track here, it can't move across rivers for 3 turns by the little water symbols. So there's an encounter here, and it's in the neighborhood of 1 worker. And there's an encounter here, and it's in the neighborhood of 2. So it'll prefer this one over here, and it's not across a lake. So this one was across the lake, so it wouldn't even be able to get there anyway. So when the Automa moves its character there, it'll just take the encounter off the board, and that's it. And then the second thing is its gain action, second one down from the top, and that is just gain a mech or character. Because as soon as you win combat against the Automa, then the mechs don't retreat to the home base, they will go back onto the board. And these mech abilities won't matter, so they don't impact the game. So we've deployed the mech, and then the mech starts at the home base, so it'll always deploy there. And then in this middle right here, we have a star, so that means we just advance this track up 1. And then that's the Automa's turn. However, on the side here, we have combat. So this is how much power it would put in, and then how many combat cards it would put in, and we just do that by simply shuffling the deck right there. And depending on how much power the Automa actually has, at the moment it only has 1. So we see from here 0 to 7, it would spend 5 power. So it would spend a maximum of 5 when it was 0 to 7. So then it would spend all of its power. And then it would also drop the combat card. Now for resources, those resources determine how much you would gain from winning the combat. So say I attack the Automa, and its last turn had 4 resources on it. That means when I attacked it, then I would get 4 resources of whatever it was on. So if it was on metal, then I would get 4 metal. If it was on oil, I would get 4 oil, etc. And then on the upside down part of the card, there's this red part. This red part is simply a more ramped up version So as you can see on the star track here, as it keeps going through its turns, it eventually reaches its first star, and then that turns it to the other side. So you'll reshuffle the deck, and it'll have all these moves, but it will gain even more moves. And so it'll basically become more difficult as the game goes by. And so now it's our turn again, and we can go ahead and produce. Real simple action, because then next turn we can start enlisting, and enlisting will be very good for us because at the moment we're out of combat cards, so we'll need to get a lot more of those. And so now it's the Automa's turn again, so we'll just get the next card. Okay, so at the top here it has move a mech or move a worker, so whatever's on the left, it prefers, so it'll move a mech. So we're looking here, see where the neighborhood with the most units. So at the moment, this wood is next in the neighborhood of 2 units, and this lake is in the neighborhood of 2 units. And the Automa doesn't really care about lakes or river walk abilities. It will go simply wherever there's a valid neighborhood. And for the sake of this example, we aren't able to actually move it because it still can't cross rivers, because this would require it to cross the river, and the lake would need to be able to cross the river. So we have to move a worker. So in order to move a worker, it's the one that's closest to the base, so they're both equally 1 distance away from the base. And so in order for that, tiebreaker is reading order. So starting from the top left, going left to right, from the top going left to right, it'll be this worker, and we'll simply move him on to our character right there. And then that will be its movement action. And then now it's its gain action, so it gains another mech. And then we'll give it 2 power. And it has a star, so now we just move it up 1, and that's its turn. Okay, back to us. Let's see. So now we're going to want to trade and enlist. So we'll go ahead and enlist that and gain 2 combat cards. So we'll lose a coin, we'll gain the 2 grain needed, spend the 1 as well, so that's a total of 3. Then we'll gain 2 coins back, and we don't get that combat card on the first one, but we do get those 2 from the instant bonus. So we got 2 3s, which isn't bad. At the moment, I think we can attempt to get hedge your bets. So we'll just put this up front right here. While as become a beloved pacifist is a little difficult, because the Automa will expand rather quickly. So we're gonna need a way to somehow get onto this metal with all of our workers in order to come get our engine going. Because once we got that, we can move and deploy, and that will let us move our character slowly, expanding its flags, while also getting us a star. So that'll be our turn. Now I'll head back over here to the Automa. Draws a new card. Aha, so this icon is when you're playing the easy variant. So, like I said, there was the difficulties. This one is only for the easiest difficulty, and that basically means the Automa skips its turn. So now it has move workers. So one closest to the home base is this one, and then in the closest neighborhood. So there's a neighborhood of 1. On this metal, there's 2, so it'll move there. Or it could move to that oil, but it was tied, so tiebreaker is reading order, starting from the top, going left to right. So it'll go onto the metal right there. And so here's a faction-specific bonus. So if it was Crimea, then they would get a coin. but they're not, so they only get a combat card. So we just give that to them face down. And then we actually enlisted, so this last part over here is the enlistment bonuses. So we actually enlisted the combat card, so we'll actually get one of those. Wow, it's on its turn. Okay, now in the middle here it has a star that's grayed out. That means it doesn't advance the star track. So we're doing pretty well. So now that's at the end of its turn, and it's back to us. So I'm going to produce again, get the 5 workers, and get 1 more wheat. Okay, so now in order to move all those workers, we're going to need to take a few move actions. And if we wanted to do that, it would be... best thing I would say is we'll move next turn, we'll enlist, and then move again. Because then we can get 1... Let's see this. Because we can always trade for the metal if we need to. So we'll think about it when we get there. Need to plan it out a little bit. Okay, Automa's turn. So it'll go for another encounter. It cannot. Then the character will move. So character, the closest neighborhood is here. So at the moment it's stuck on its peninsula and it's just sort of moving around that way. It's not too mobile yet. But at the end of this turn, the star track will advance and it'll be off there. So now it'll start expanding. Okay, next is its gain. So again, gains a worker. And workers, when they spawn, they'll spawn on the home base until they move out. And then it also gains a coin. So, simple enough, it's a coin. And then we move the star track. And now next turn, it can move out of its little island. So now it's back to our turn. The obvious move I would say is moving. So okay, I see this. So we'll move 1 worker to that metal, and then 1 worker onto that grain, and then we'll be able to enlist, and then we'll be able to move 2 more workers onto this grain, and then once we have 3 workers on there, can trade for the metal to move deploy. And then once we have that, then we'll be all set. Okay, so then there's my move. And now let's go to the Automa again. Okay, so Nordic. This is Saxony, so it wouldn't be able to do anything. And then move a mech. So we'll move the mech closest to the enemy, so I'm up there. So it won't want to move to this lake, even though it has 2 units in the neighborhood. It has 2 units in the neighborhood over here. So it'll prefer going closer to me. So it'll move to that wood right there. And then it gains 4 power, so it goes up to 7. Which is looking very dangerous. So now we move it up 1 more, because the star in the middle, and that's its turn. So as you can see, the Automa isn't actually that difficult. You just need to sort of understand how to read its language and pick out the tiebreakers and all that. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to trade and enlist. So I'm going to pay 1 to get 2 grain, and then spend 3 of the grain. Get 2 coins. I'll get a combat card. And then I'm going to enlist my mechs and get 2 power. So I'll be up to 5. And then that's it. Okay, Automa's turn again. So now I'll flip a card over. And so move the character. So let's see. The character wants to go towards the factory, but it also wants to it prefers encounters first. So it's going to look for encounters. So there's one encounter within a neighborhood of 1 unit, and one encounter within the neighborhood of 2 units. So it's going to go over to this encounter over there, and then simply take it. That's its movement action. And now it gets 3 power and a coin. Okay, so 1 coin. And I actually enlisted the deploy, so I'll actually get a coin as well. And there we go. And so the star doesn't move up, so we're good for that. So now it's back to our turn. Let's see, we'll produce... Oh no, sorry. We're going to move, and we'll move those 2 units right there, those 2 workers. And now our engines should be fully functioning. Okay, and Automa's turn. It's not Polania, so it'll just move a worker. So worker goes to closest to the base is this one right here for picking the worker. So we'll pick the one that's actually at the base. Then we'll want to put it closest to us. So closest to us was it right there, because there are 2 areas with a neighborhood of 2 units. This one actually has a neighborhood of 3, so it would actually go over. It would actually go onto this oil right there. But I'm actually having trouble right now. There we go. So this is in the neighborhood of 3, so it'll go right there, and then that's its turn for the worker. And then it'll gain a coin. And then it moves its star up 1, so got that. Okay. So now back to our turn. We'll produce. So we'll lose 1 power. That's alright. And then we'll get 3 grain and 1 metal. And so we can enlist and then move deploy, start getting our character out and getting some flags down. So oops. Okay, Automa's turn. So Saxony. Here's a Saxony specific thing. So this one is combat if it has 5 or more power. So we check if it has 5 or more. Yep, it has 10 right now, so it would try to engage in combat. But luckily we aren't close enough for it, because it would have to be within the neighborhood of us. So we would have to have units next to it. So it's just gonna move a worker. So do the one closest to the home base. So it's tied right now. And so then it would be this one, because the reading order. And we'll move him right. We'll actually move him right to this grain, because this one is tied for 2, and this grain is tied for 2. And so closest to us and reading order, top left to right. So it'll move up there. And it gains another worker, so we'll place that worker right on the home base. And we'll get a coin. And so we don't have the build enlisted, so we won't gain that popularity, and then it moves up 1 star. Okay, back to us. I'm gonna trade, so I'm gonna lose 1 coin to get 2 metal. And then I'm going to, let's see here, gonna enlist, so I'll take the 3 grain and get 2 coins and a card. Luckily we're making up cards back, but we aren't getting the best ones. Okay, now let's get some popularity, because we're going to want to be in the 2nd tier so that we can try to at least even out with the Automa, because at the moment it has a much higher score. So that was our turn, and now it's back to the Automa. So I'll flip it over here. Nordic, nope. Let's see if it has an encounter. Yes, it does. So there's an encounter right here in the neighborhood of 2, and there's an encounter right there with a neighborhood of 1. So it'll go to the neighborhood of 2 and then take it. Okay, then a power and a worker. So now Saxony's at 11 power and has 1 more worker. Okay, now we don't have upgrades enlisted, sadly, otherwise we would have gotten a power there, and then we move the star track up 1. Okay, now here's where things get going. We're gonna move deploy, so gonna move my character right there, try to get these encounters, move another worker right onto there. See, we have a decision now. It would be better for our character to get out, I believe. So, we moved 2 units. Now we'll spend 3 metal to get 4 coins. There we go. And deploy a mech. And now that we actually have our group all clumped up like that, it's good for movement. So move deploy, and then that's it. Okay, so now let's go to the Automa. So this one is combat against workers. So if we had workers by ourselves within the neighborhood, Saxony would send them back, but not lose any popularity. So can't do that, so he's just gonna move a worker. And so closest to the Automa base is right here. And now one with the most Automa units in its territory or neighborhood. This one has 4, so it'll move right there. And it'll gain another worker. And so the Automa gains stars in a couple different ways. It gains stars at the max power for combats and from these star points on the card itself. So it's going to move up 1 more star, and so it's 1 turn away from getting its first star. And then that's when it turns to the opposite side, and things get a little bit harder. So at the moment, things aren't looking the greatest for us, but I think we can manage. So now we're going to produce. We'll lose a power. That's alright. And then we'll get 1 metal and 4 grain. Perfect. Okay. Now it's the Automa's turn again. And if it's Albion, it would do that, but it's not. Okay, so now it moves a worker. So one with the most Automa units in its neighborhood. There's 2 ties for 3, but the reading order, it will prefer this wood more than the grain. Okay, now there's another worker, and it gains a coin. And it has the enlistment for a coin as well, so we'll actually get 1 right there. So we're catching up to it in coins. Okay, it gains a star, so now it goes on to the 2nd star. So that means the Automa has gotten its first star, and it just places it on the track on any space. Doesn't quite matter, except for the combat and power ones. Those will be placed directly on those. Okay, so now we have to shuffle the deck back together because we've reached the 2. We've reached the 2, and so now we need to flip the deck over, and we'll reshuffle it, and then now its cards are better. It now has more actions in a turn than usual. Okay, back to our turn. We're gonna spend a coin to trade and enlist. So, gonna trade for 2 metal, and then spend 3 grain. So traded for 2 metal, spend 3 grain, we'll gain 2 coins, get a combat card, perfect, to 5, and then we're gonna enlist our last enlistment, so we'll get 2 more coins, and we'll get the enlistment star. And that's it. So we'll end our turn, and now it's the Automas. So now as you can see, the Automa's at its 2 at the top there. So it's gonna flip over its cards, and now we're gonna read the red side. So red side, as you can see, has quite a bit more to it. So it's gonna move a mech. So closest to the home base is this mech right here, and in the neighborhood of the most units, right there, because it has neighborhood 3. And now it gains 2 power, so from 11 to 13, and it gains another mech. So it'll place it right there. Okay, and we have the upgrade star, so we'll actually get a power, but before that, we'll move it up 1 star, and then it's the end of its turn. So we'll gain a power. Okay, back to us. So I'm going to move deploy. So I'm going to move my character 1, place a flag there. We'll get that encounter once we finish all our movements, so we have 1 more. At the moment, we don't need any more grain, so I'm going to move all our stuff onto this metal right here. We'll try to get all the metal we need in order to finish up our deployment, so we'll get 5. We'll have 1 grain left over. We'll need 1 more metal in order to actually finish that. But that could work out. Or perhaps not. We'll see what we get from this encounter. So those are my 2 movements. So now I'll do my encounter. Okay, 2 food, 1 popularity. 2 for 1 worker and any 2 resources. I think I'm gonna pay the 2 because that means we won't have to produce any more metal after this, which will save us some actions. And then we can start just bolstering and moving to try to stop the Automa from expanding too far. So pay 2. I'm going to choose to not get the worker, but I'm going to get 2 metal. And then, now that's the end of the movement, so I'm going to trade 3 metal to deploy mech. And let's see here, we'll get a shield, since the Automa's somewhat aggressive. Okay, so then that's the turn. So we also get 4 coins. Take off the encounter. And that's it. Okay, now let's see. Here we go. So combat of 1, so it has more than 1, so it would, but it's not in the neighborhood, so we're safe. Now let's see, combat against workers. There's no workers by either. And so now encounter a factory. Let's see. There's an encounter right here in the neighborhood of 2. It's not close enough to the factory, so it won't get it. But those are the only 2 things, so we'll actually move it to this encounter right there. And it gets it, steals it, and now it gets a coin, and then we'll get a combat card. Okay, another 3. So now it doesn't move the star, so we're safe. And now it's back to us. So we just moved deployed, so I think what we're going to be looking to do is produce again, and then we'll have all the metal we need. So produce, get 5 more metal. So that's 7, and we need 6, so we'll have 1 left over. 1 left over means hedge our bets will be somewhat easier to complete, because we'll need a trade for the remaining resources of wood and oil. So use that. And then that's our turn. Now let's see. Here's... Okay, so it moves a mech. So, mech right here. And neighborhood of 2, neighborhood of 3, so it's going to move to the 3. Then... So it's done its... Oh. Okay, I was reading that wrong. The way Tabletop Simulator works is if you press Alt, then it'll flip the card over. The easy way to fix that is when you press Alt, make sure to rotate it so that you can read it right. Luckily it was the same basically, but just in case there's any difference, you want to make sure you get it right. So then it gains 2 coins and then gets its last mech. So it doesn't get a star for its mechs, and that's good. So it'll move itself up 1, and now it's our turn again. So as you can see, the Automa's expanding out really far, so we're gonna need to figure out a way to stop it. But before that, we'll just move deploy. So real easy. Keep that mech back there. Move all our stuff up there. So that's one move, and then second move is gonna be go right there with our rally ability. So then we'll place a flag, and then we'll get the encounter before we do our bottom row action. It's a little inconvenient though when you're rotating those Automa cards, because then any other cards will be upside down. So for this one, we'll gain $2 in a popularity. We'll make up the money we made getting that medal that last turn, and we'll be closer to tier 2, which is always good. Okay. And so now we'll spend 3 metal, and we'll deploy this mech. Deploy sword. So as soon as Saxony gets close to us, we can start becoming a little aggressive. We're gonna need a bolster though. Okay, so move deployed, and then we'll get 4 coins. Perfect. Okay, so now it'll be Automa's turn, and it's not Togawa, so it'll just move its mech. So mech closest to the home base is one right here, and then in the most neighborhood. So this one has 2, this one has 2, this lake, the woods, and this oil all have 2. But this lake down here actually has 3, so we'll place the mech down there. Okay, and then we'll gain, it's Saxony, so it gains a extra power from its special action, and then it gets a coin, and would get another mech, but all of its mechs are deployed, so we don't have to worry about that. We'll get a coin, and then it'll move up 1 star. So we're actually making bank, but we'll see if that can save us from the Automa, because it just got its 2nd star, and so slowly moving up. Okay, now it's our turn again. Now let's see. Let's see what we did in chat. We just moved deployed, so what we're gonna want to do, I think, is we can produce. Producing will let us bolster and upgrade, and this will let us maximize the power we can get. Because we're gonna want to get a lot of power really quickly. So this seems like the best idea. So we'll get 6 oil, or sorry, 5 oil. And you get one of those back, which is good because then we'll pay 3, upgrade it, and then we'll need 2, so then that's 5 total. Okay, so now that was produce. Did I go down power? I don't believe so. So we'll go down 1, and then that's it. So now it's back to the Automa. Okay, encounter factory. Let's see. Doesn't look like it's in the neighborhood of any encounters or factories, so it simply just moves its character. So character is right here. Here's the neighborhood of 2, neighborhood of 2, neighborhood of 1, because the character would be moving, so it's not counted as on that tile anymore. So closest one would be here, because it's closest to us with the combat unit, and it's in the neighborhood of the most units possible. So now we're just on the precipice of combat with Saxony, so hopefully we don't draw bad here. So we'll place another worker, gains that worker, and then it gets 2 coins. Okay, moves up 1 star, and now it's our turn. Okay, now let's see what we can do here. So we just produced. One thing we can do is we can just move deploy. Could be the best bet because we can move on to the medal right there, and then get ready for combat against Saxony. We're hoping to either get into combat and win, or to... because if we get to combat lose, Saxony gets a star. If it gets enough power, it'll get a star. And on that turn, it'll also move onto a star. So if things go badly, it could get 3 stars in 1 turn. So, best way to counteract that and try to get the best score whenever possible is moving 1, and then move 2, and then get the flag, and spend 3 of our metal right here to deploy. Okay, and then we'll get our last mech. We'll deploy it right on here. Then that gets us a star. And we also got the 4 coins, and I think that's it. Okay, it's now Moment of Fate. It's combat. Okay, so Saxony is combat above 8. So it has above 8, it has 14 right now. So it'll go into combat with us. So it'll go closest to the base. So this mech on the lake right over here is somehow going to teleport to us. And it's going to go to the one with the least amount of combat units. So I have a 1 right here, and it has a 3. So we'll get into combat with it. Now, Saxony doesn't have any mech abilities because the Automa doesn't use those. So in order to determine how combat works, we're going to draw this next card right here and use it for its little chart there. But beforehand, we're going to need to choose how much we use. So we actually gain 2 from shield. And at the moment, what I'm thinking is we could always get lucky and it not spend that much power. But chances are, if it's 14, the 3 brackets are 14 plus, so it is at 14 right now, so it's the chances of it using lots of power are high. Now see, if we just lose this combat, it'll only gain 1 star, so then we can retaliate next turn. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna spend a 2. So just a 2 combat card. And we'll draw this Automa card, see what it does. So, if it was 14 plus, it uses 7. So, it will just place that right there. So it uses 7 power, so it goes down to 7. We use no power. And then it also uses a combat card with that. So it uses a 4. 4 is discarded. Then lost 7 power, and so our character is going to go back, but that's alright, and Saxony is going to get a combat star. So, that was a bad turn for us, but we can retaliate this next one once we bolster. Okay, so now this side card will just stay there, just to reference. The star doesn't mean anything right now, we only cared about the chart. So that was the Automa's turn, but it actually also gets a coin and another worker, but it doesn't have any more workers, so that's fine. And we'll get a popularity, so should get up 1. That brings us up to tier 2, stand a fighting chance now. And now let's see. Next turn we just moved and deployed, so that's okay. So we'll simply just bolster and upgrade. So when we bolster, we're gonna spend 1 coin and then get 3 power. So it'll be up to 7, and that's good because then we'll have sword, bring him down to. Oh, and last turn I forgot. Draw a combat card. Perfect, to 5. And now let's see. Okay, so we'll gain the 3 power. We spend 3 oil. Right there. And we'll upgrade, so I'm thinking of... We can either upgrade move or we can upgrade the bolster. I'm actually thinking move because the game's almost coming to a close because the Automa is going pretty quick. So with move we can expand out more, try to get more territory. Maybe get the factory. I don't think we'll get there in time though. Okay, so we bolstered and upgraded. So now it's our turn. And now it's Automa. Okay, so here it is. Encounter factory. So there's no encounter available, no factory available. And just move its character. So its character will go to the neighborhood of the most units, right there, because it has 3 units right there in the neighborhood. Then now it'll gain 3 power, so it's up to 10. And we'll gain a worker, no more workers left. We'll gain a combat card, another 2, and it'll move up a star, and that's its 4th star, so running out of time here. Okay, back to our turn. Now we're gonna move, and we can't deploy anymore because we're out of metal. Let's see, how much wood do we need? Okay, if we can keep this game going a couple turns longer, there'll be 3 more turns maximum. Moving, bolstering, moving. That doesn't give us enough time to get wood for a building, so hedge or bet is out of the question because we won't have a structure or the resources needed. Pacifist, nope. So I think at this moment we're just gonna need to focus on spreading out. So we're gonna move. I'm gonna move with my character right over there so we can start placing another flag further away. I'll move a couple of these guys here. I'll actually move 3 right there, so then we can start actually getting some more coins just for free. And then we'll move another mech back there with just by itself. Okay, so the way we're looking right now, it's not too bad. So we'll sword Saxony, so they're down 2. Saxony doesn't have a mech ability, so that's okay. And let's see. I'm gonna want to spend 5. If we spend all our power, then Saxony, of course, can dominate us the next round. However, if Saxony spends all their power as well, then we'll be able to even out almost. And so the threshold at the moment is 8 to 13, and it actually has 8 power right now, so chances of it being in that middle section are high. So I think we'll max power, so we'll do 5 and 7, so for the 12, and we'll just reveal it. So we're doing 12. Let's see what the Automa does. It puts 1. So Automa loses 1 power. We're gonna lose all our power. The Automa will get a combat card, or oh, it also spends 1 combat card, so spends a 3. Okay, and then it gains a combat card randomly. And right here, there weren't any resources, so attacking then probably wasn't the most opportune time, but it was probably the best in that situation. So We've won the combat, so we'll get that combat star. You know what, I'm rethinking my move a little bit. Rather than the money, get 4 coins or the star. Either way, that would be almost the same. Let's see here. So if we get the worker star, we'll produce. Do that. But I've actually screwed myself over by producing and spending too much power. Okay, so getting metal out of the question and getting the worker stars out of the question. But I would say because that's 4 coins, that's 4 coins. So either way it'd be the same. And I'm just gonna keep it where it is then. Actually, it'll save us an action. So we're gonna teleport with our guys over there instead of that metal. And then that's the turn. So instead of actually going to the home base, this mech is quotation marks destroyed, and it'll need to redeploy it in order to actually happen. Okay, then that was the end of our turn. Very eventful. Now let's see what the Automa does. Saxony 5 power. Yes, it has 5 power, or above 5. So it's going to try attacking us. So one with the reading order, since they're both tied, or 1 space away. So there we go. Luckily, actually, we have shields, so that gets us the power we need in order to produce. So that's actually very nice. So we're tied right now. Let's see. Even if we do lose this combat, we'll still have 1 more move to produce. That'll give us another star as a last-ditch effort. So now, let's see how this combat goes. It's at 0 to 7 power, so it should spend not too much, but you never know. Forgot to put this away. Okay, so we're gonna spend a 5 here, because at this point, I don't think I'll have time to retaliate. And 1 power, so we'll be at 6. And the Automa is going to... It's actually gonna spend 6 and a combat card, so it'll be this 1 and a 2. So it actually wins that fight. So it'll send me back to my home base. Automa gets a star. Okay, so it won that combat, and then loses 6 power. I lose 1. Then it'll deploy a mech and gain a combat card. Okay, so then we actually gain a coin. It moves up 1 on the star, and then that's the end of its turn. So I'll gain our coin. And I think at this point we just need to produce, get the workers. If we have time next round, of course we can try to fight it again. I actually need to get a combat card for losing. Not that good, okay. So produce, get our worker star. And then that's the end of that turn. Okay, now let's see. Okay, so this is the final turn. So moves a worker. So let's see here. Here's a neighborhood of 4, so we'll place them right, actually 5. So place the worker right there. Then gets a combat card, deploys a mech. Already has its mechs out, so just the combat card. Let's Let's see, we'll gain a coin, which is nice. Hopefully it'll be the deciding factor. And moves up one on a star track, getting its last star. And there we go, that's the end of the game. So that's how you play with the Automa. Now we'll calculate our scores. Not sure why that was an error. Oh, I know why. The airship tiles aren't there, so it actually won't have the same scoring system. So, we were Albion Militant, we had 4 stars. Popularity tier, second. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 territories, which is not very good compared to the Automa. We had 4 resources, 2 oil, grain, metal. Then coins, we're doing very well on coins, got 30. Okay, 65. I don't actually think this will be enough for us. Really quick, I just need to change my color in order to test Saxony's score. So Saxony will do unknown, has 6 stars, popularity tier 2, territories 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, I think the Automa blew me out this round. Okay, 10, 0 resources, 0 bonus, and coins, 17. Okay, calculate. 71, we're 6 points down. So that's how you play with the Automa. It's fairly simple, you just gotta read a lot of the things, figuring out where it actually wants to place it. On my mod right here, there's actually this little worker or Automa reference area, so you can always look at it, say combat. So you choose your combat power and cards, you draw the Automa card, and check the power range, see how much power it has, then do the combat cards, all that stuff. And it basically just will walk you through what the symbols are. So you see this symbol, it'll tell you what to do. So you select the mech, so it's like the closest one to the base would be this one. Then valid hexes in the neighborhood of any Automa unit or in the neighborhood of Automa's base. So it has no enemy unit and no Automa mech. So it can't go onto the same area with another mech. It has to be an empty area. So the one with the most Automa units next to it is right here with 3, right there at the woods. Then pick up the character, choose the destination hex, so shortest distance from enemy combat unit. So it even favors this one right by my unit, not only because it has the most units in the neighborhood, but also because it has my enemy unit. And then closest to the factory is one of the ties, and then reading order is the other tie. So I'll place it, picks up the encounter token, there was none. Character on factory takes random card, there was none. So that's basically how you reference the turns. Thanks for watching, have a good day.